When you create with alcohol inks, do you always use Yupo paper? Or do you try other surfaces? Today I'll experiment with alcohol inks and deli paper. Welcome to another Color Connection with Amber video where I use the color palettes and the photo inspiration from the Inspiration Challenge to drive the designs for the card projects. Okay, so I chose a selection of my artist marker refills. I'll be using Midnight Violet. I pulled out Lavender Fields, but I don't use as much of that. I do put a couple drops down, but it's mostly Midnight Violet, Caribbean Sky, and Frayed Leaf. And I'm just going to start dropping these onto my glass mat here. And Frayed Leaf has a little bit more yellow in it once I got it onto the mat. So you'll see I'll put it down in a few different places, but I don't want it to mix with the Midnight Violet too much and create a brown. So I'm going to carefully place those next to each other. And then you'll see me insert some additional blue to kind of separate the purple and the green a little bit. You just want to be cautious of the colors that you're using and mixing so that you can prevent making mud or creating brown. Unless, of course, that's the look you're going for. Maybe you're doing a fall card and you want to create some browns in there. Then that's a good opportunity to start mixing your colors. I have an alcohol spray bottle here. You do want to be very careful when you're using alcohol inks, and especially when you're spraying. Normally what I do is put the alcohol into a dropper, like a pipette, and just drop the alcohol on. I love to read your comments, so be sure to let me know what you guys are creating, and be sure to like and subscribe, especially if you're enjoying this video or you're learning something new. The best way to show your appreciation is give a comment, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe. I'll give it a couple more puffs of air to mix those colors around. And then today I thought it would be fun to experiment with alcohol inks and deli paper. If you're not familiar with deli paper, it has kind of like a regular tissue paper type surface on one side, and then on the other side it has a little bit of a shiny surface. It's kind of like a waxed covered paper on one side. So here what I've done is I've put the waxy side down towards the alcohol ink, and I thought it would be fun to just kind of experiment with this and see what happens. This is a 10 by 10 deli paper sheet. You can get this kind of like in a pop-up container, almost like a tissue box type of situation. And now I'm kind of putting the other side of the paper down, so not the waxed paper side, but the regular tissue paper side. And I just wanted to see how both sides reacted. I didn't see any difference in the color saturation from one side to the other, and it didn't really absorb any differently from one side to the other. Now, you could do this same technique with any kind of papers that you have and any kind of mediums that you have. So, with your deli paper, you could also do this with your watercolor brush markers. You could do this with your ink pads, your watercolors, any of those things, your ink pad refills, all of those things would work. So why on earth am I using alcohol ink? That's a very good question. I'm glad you asked. The reason I kind of rationalized this choice was because I was using more of like a tissue paper. I wasn't sure how much the deli paper would stand up to moisture, and I figured the alcohol inks would dry faster. So rather than have this kind of like damp piece of tissue paper, even though it has a little bit of a waxy surface, I thought it might just hold up better if I had a medium that dried really quickly. So that's why I chose this. I'll just keep adding ink until I'm satisfied with the saturation, and here's the finished paper here. So I have a nice large sheet of colored paper. I'm going to clean up my work surface, and I also liked the idea of the little bit of translucency that deli paper offers. So I'm just going to tear this. I think I roughly want it about a 1/4 inch smaller all the way around, and I'm going slowly because I just haven't really decided what I want to do with this yet. So I have it now, and I'm kind of like, okay, now what now? Do you guys do this? Is this how you create? You kind of just experiment with something and then you have to figure out what to do with it. I decided to crinkle it up even more, and then I liked the dimension of that, so I thought I would just put little dabs of glue here and there and glue it down to the card front in a way that I would still have areas that were lifted up off of the page. So I'm just going to glue it down in about 5 spots. Here I have the Altenew precision glue pin here. It's a rollerball pin, and you can just squeeze it, like I'm squeezing it so that I can get a lot more glue out because I just wanted like some little blobs. The one nice thing about the deli paper is that you don't see this glue through the paper at all. So it's I kind of like it more than vellum, you guys. It has a similar semi-transparent look to it, but I don't know, it seems to hide the glue better. And then also I'm going to use the new dimensional foam tape later in the video, and you can't see that through this paper either. So I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, so if you guys caught the Altenew Educator blog hop that we just did, I cased my very first Altenew Educator submission. So it was a circle card. And as I was going back and looking through old blog posts and looking at different card designs, I came across my card design with Beautiful Day, and I love that stamp set, and I feel like I rarely ever use my older stamps. So I decided to pull it out for this project. So this is Beautiful Day. And I have the Obsidian Pigment Ink, and I am stamping on the rougher side of the paper. So not the waxy side, but the more porous side of the paper. I decided to stamp a few on the colored paper that I have, and then also just on some just completely clean deli paper there. And then I was thinking that I would actually use the coordinating dies, but I decided it would look a lot nicer if I just tore the paper, kind of like with the other card. So you can see me go ahead and take the die off here, and I'll just tear around this leaf so it has some rough edges and adds a little bit more character to the images. I opted to just keep the leaves black and white so that they could stand apart from the flowers, because there's a lot of color going on those flowers. Also, of course, this doesn't totally match our inspiration photo color palette. So our inspiration photo had purple, blue, and green in it, and you can see that the Midnight Violet, although it's purple, really turned a lot more pink than anything else once it was watered down with a little bit more alcohol. So here I was trying to decide what to do with this crinkled up panel over here. This is crazy. I don't like that at all. There's way too much going on, so much color in the background, and then the flowers on top. I don't like it. So I took that off and decided to just use Mega You die and Mega Greetings 2 sentiment underneath there to say you can do it. Super simple card. And then here I have the Essential Sentiment Strips die set, and I just pulled out one of the sentiments from there. It's actually a longer sentiment than this, and I just used part of it, and I went ahead and cut it up to fit it in the space. Of course, I added some black splatter with the jet black ink spray, and I love how these pop up. Now, I did use the dimensional foam. Unfortunately, I didn't tape that part, but here I'm going to show you. I used the new dimensional foam tape underneath there, and you can't even see it through the deli paper. So I thought that was really cool. So I definitely like the effect of alcohol inks with deli paper, and I'd love to know what you think as well. Do let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if you've used deli paper in your other projects like mixed media or those types of things. And what else are you using your alcohol inks on? What kind of surfaces do you use those with? Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you soon with more inspiration.
Hello crafters, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching.